Barcelona's summer window looked like a disaster from the outside. Limited cash, contractual minefields, and a registration deadline that threatened to strand new signings on the sidelines. But behind closed doors a different story unfolded, led not by a coach or director, but by a figure who operates where headlines rarely reach, super agent Jorge Mendes, Mendes. Men didn't flood Camp Nou with headline signings this summer. Instead, he engineered a chain of small, precise moves that together opened almost euros 30 million in salary space and allowed the club to register players who otherwise might have been left in limbo. The first piece of the puzzle was timing, accelerating Ansu Fati's departure so the forward could establish residency in Monaco before a key tax cut-off. That residency move did more than shuffle a player's address. It reportedly cut the club's ongoing wage obligations dramatically, converting a potentially crippling liability into immediate breathing room. Next came a negotiation that looked routine on paper, but was decisive in practice. The sale of Pau Victor to Sporting Braga for euros 12 million plus add-ons. Mendes steered that transfer despite Pau Victor not being his direct client, acting as an intermediary to get the deal done quickly and at the right structure for Barcelona's books. When bigger plans to place Francisco Trincao in the Premier League stalled, and the player showed reluctance to return to England, Mendes pivoted again, brokering the sale of 50% of Trincao's rights to Sporting CP for euros 11 million. It was a compromise. Barcelona sacrificed future upside for immediate liquidity, but in the context of a club scrambling to meet registration rules, it was a lifeline. Taken together, these decisions were less about transfer glamour and more about balance sheet triage, timing salaries, unlocking amortizations, and converting uncertain assets into cash at the precise moment it was needed. The result was technical and immediate. Joan Garcia has been registered, and whispers say Marcus Rashford's paperwork could follow, but the implications cut deeper. For Joan Laporta and the sporting staff, who do the daily math of wages and amortization, Mendes' interventions bought time and options on the pitch. For fans, it transformed what might have been a summer of humiliation into a summer of salvage. Yet there is a darker edge to that rescue. Relying on a super agent with deep access concentrates leverage in a few hands and raises questions about who ultimately shapes sporting decisions: the board, the coach, or intermediaries who can move people and paper with surgical speed. The short-term benefit is undeniable. Players registered, squads intact, competitive plans preserved. But the longer-term cost could be shifted priorities, compromised negotiation positions, or harder choices next transfer window when temporary fixes expire. Mendes' moves also underscore a new reality in elite football, where success is measured as much by cash flow, timing, and tax engineering as by scouting and tactics. Agents who can synchronize a player's residency, a buyer's appetite, and a club's accounting deadlines become strategic partners, not just brokers. For Barcelona, Mendes didn't buy a trophy, he bought time. And in a sport where seasons are short and financial calendars brutal, time can be the difference between rebuilding and collapse. So the real question now isn't only which players were registered this summer, but whether this rescue will be the start of a sustainable plan or merely a temporary tourniquet. The next moves by the club, whether to convert short-term loans into permanent sales, to rebalance the wage bill, or to renegotiate longer-term contracts, will define whether this euros 30 million lifeline becomes a chapter of revival or a pause before a harder reckoning. For now, the secret deals done in quiet rooms have kept Barcelona alive in the race. What remains to be seen is whether that survival will be the foundation for renewal or the prelude to a tougher test next year.